In the previous lecture, we got a chance to look at some basic fundamentals about Apple and its stock and its revenues, its market cap, and things like that. But fundamental analysis goes a little bit more deeper than that. You have to be able to study the company's financials. If you're not a finance person, this might be a little tough for you. And so you might have to rely on analyst reports. And so that's fine too, because these analysts are the professionals. They are looking at all these companies and they look at various factors that a normal person may not be able to look at. And you might end up, especially for a company like Apple, you might end up liking a particular analyst's views, over time, of course, over the months and years. Like for example, for Apple, I like this analyst called Gene Munster of Piper Jaffray. He is very accurate with his analysis, and he has truly, he's on first name basis with Tim Cook and all the senior management at Apple. Not that he gets any inside information, but he gets good information, which he then analyzes and then produces his reports. So you can follow analysts like that for various stocks that you're interested in. All this, of course, takes time, and so you'll have to spend a little time. There are some fundamental things that you should know. Growth is a key factor affecting valuation. So if you have two companies which are exactly the same in all ways, but if one company is growing at 5% a year and the other company is growing at 40% a year, the valuation of the 40% is going to be much, much larger than the 5%. Now, that should be intuitively, it should make sense because one company is growing much, much faster. So the valuation formula takes into account growth as a very big factor. Competitive advantage is also another very big factor. Now, is it possible for someone to come and create an iPhone-like phone? And well, yes, we do have the Androids, but or rather, let's put it this way: can somebody come and create an iTunes-like setup with all the music labels all signed up and all the music signed up? It's difficult. So that's competitive advantage. And so valuation should include things like competitive advantage as well, and which it does. You have to follow the company news then, because any of these mergers or lawsuits or any kind of fundamental events can throw a shock to the stock. I mean, it could be on the upside, it could be on the downside, but regardless, you have to follow the news around the company, which is easy nowadays. You can just set a Google alert and let it go. But and if you're able to analyze financial statements and quarterly reports, then that's even so much more better. So let's just give you a little bit more on fundamental analysis. Let's go back to our Wall Street Journal and see what we can find out. So here we are in the ratings. So you can see ratings quarterly, and so analyst ranges are given. Then you get some more information as to how the net income is growing and how, what are the 5-quarter trends, and so on and so forth. But what I want to see is all right, so here we can see some things. So here, analyst ratings on Apple. 3 months ago, there were 39 analysts that said buy. 4 said they were overweight, which means they've got a lot of stock. You should be overweight on Apple. 8 people said hold. Nobody said be underweight on Apple. And 2 analysts said sell, outright sell. Now, 1 month ago, let's see if there's any significant changes. Hold has come down from 8 to 6. Not really. And let's look at the current. Really nothing. So overall, Apple remains a buy. And then if you want to look at individual analyst ratings, I'm sure there's a way to do that. But basically, if you want to go in and look at exactly what an analyst is saying, then you can go in and read his report. You can also read the quarterly reports, the quarterly earnings reports, and the earnings and the revenues. You're going to have to see that. That is an important thing. And most importantly, you want to see how the growth is happening. So here you can see the stock price has been like this, but it's been coming down from its high. This is a 1-month chart only, but you want to see how the growth is happening. And really, because Apple, everybody's expectation is that Apple is going to blow through quarter after quarter. Now, that's a bit unrealistic. It's a huge company and it's growing at 30% a year. And, how long can that sustain? At some point, that kind of growth will have to slow down, and they believe that it could be in 2016, where really iPhone sales may not be growing as before. So we'll see. All of this you have to follow. If you're a fundamental investor, you have to follow these kinds of things. Just simply follow analysts around it, and that's fine. And if you don't have the time to pour through financial statements, which is it's a pretty heavy undertaking. So and especially if you're not from the finance area, it's going to be very difficult for you to decipher all the stuff that's in there. So anyway, that's about fundamental analysis. Thank you.